The time is now 7:01. Good afternoon and welcome to the May 26, 2026 Strategic Realignment Focus Work Group meeting. I am Dr. Felton Moss, Committee Chair and District 7 Board Member. It brings me great pleasure to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. For those unable to observe now, the meeting is being recorded and can be accessed on the PGCPS YouTube channel for later viewing. The agenda and documents can be found on the PGCPS Diligent page, link from the Board of Education homepage. I want to thank all of you for committing to this important oversight and partnership work. Ms. McMillan, will you please take the roll?
Will Brunson, Denise Cabrera,
Present.
Tamika Etino,
Present.
Amy Sawyer,
Present.
Catherine Sutton,
Present.
Ashley Kearney, Sharice Vickery, Camilla House, Carmen Lewis, Senator Alonzo Washington, Dr. Sean Joseph,
Present.
Dr. Deanne Collins,
Present.
Dr. Douglas Trader,
Present.
Dr. Dana Edwards,
Present.
Miss Lisa Howell, Dr. Jamie Bowers,
Present.
Dr. Kevin Kendrick,
Present.
Mr. Jeffrey Parker, Miss Felicia Colbert, Dr. David Curry, Miss Michelle Towles Monroe, Miss Jewel Preston, Mr. Kelvin Pinckney,
Present.
Mr. Trent Holmes,
Present.
Mr. Roosevelt Lyons, Dr. Donna Christie, Mr. Nick Schmidt, Miss Arnett Jones,
Present.
Miss Sahaba Johnson, Miss Cara Robinson,
Present.
Mr. Wilbert Brinson, Miss Sante Harris, Miss Essence Herndon, Miss Christina Bailey, Miss Sharonda Greens Huggins, Mr. Ronald Williams, Mr. Alexander Austin, Mr. Corey Jones, Miss Jamie Florina, Miss Candy Daly, Mr. William Lash, and Miss Tamisha Kidd.
Present.
Roll has been recorded.
Ms. McMillan, Camila House, Will Bronson. I know they're raising their hands. Sharice Vickery, as the folks that were present that you didn't account for. Amy Olivo, Carmen Lewis. We'll get you Santa Harris. They're all raising their hand to tell you that they're present now.
Okay, I've made those amendments.
Okay. Folks, should go through and capture names that missed the roll call. from earlier as folks jump into the call. Tonight is an exciting night, or not, but we get through it. But we're gonna make it worth it. I remain hopeful about the future and this work group, and hopeful about PGCPS and all the great things that are happening. So tonight's gonna be twofold. Dr. Bowers is going to come and briefly just remind us of our core work and why we're here. Subsequent to that, the superintendent is going to give a presentation now that we have our estimates from the county council in that they will vote tomorrow on the approved budget. That will leave us with this week and maybe one more meeting depending on when the board meets, but we're clear around how this work group can be helpful for the board and its recommendations. And so we will go into subcommittee time as the third thing we do tonight. So first, we will hear from Dr. Bowers, then Interim Superintendent Joseph will come and acclimate us to where we are based on the county council's budget. And then subsequent to that, we will go in our work group and we will talk about recommendations. Before we go into our work groups tonight, when the superintendent finishes, I'll give you our final charge for what that means for our work and our final recommendations. So we will meet once more after this to make sure our work is tight. But I want to make sure we get clear on where we are. Dr. Bowers?
Sure. Good evening. I just have two slides for us this evening. So I want to re-ground our committee in our roadmap. So we are still in phase one, but I think borderlining on phase two. So we are hopefully wrapping up our stakeholder engagement focuses this evening with our three work groups. Hopefully, when we meet again in June, we'll get a chance to maybe wrap some of those up and come up with some of our recommendations as part of our actionable policy for this work. We also want to make sure that we are moving into phase two as we look at positioning the board to allocate for funding and thinking about how we are best sharing out our recommendations from each of our three committees in strategically aligning our resources. So just as a reminder, our three subcommittees, their core responsibilities this evening, and thinking about how we can look at district-wide spending and staffing models, program efficiencies, cost efficiencies, any redundancies or areas for reallocation, a cost-benefit analysis of any of our programs, and then short and long-term resource realignment strategies. And our revenue and sustainability, last week we talked about grants. This evening we will reconvene and talk about that, as well as other revenue strategies and streams at the state, current fiscal, and federal and local level. We'll look for any gaps or vulnerabilities in our funding structures currently and see if there are any things that we can help to adjust, looking at new and other diversified opportunities for revenue, as well as what advocacy strategies we may need to come up with, and thinking about flexibility of our funding. And then lastly, our stakeholder engagement and policy recommendation committee, thinking about how we can engage our variety of stakeholders in the district and community in looking at our budget and planning for fiscal year 27. If that may be in a public meeting setting, a listening session, a survey, focus group, etc. And then what other actionable feedback and insights we can share via our recommendations from our overall subcommittee work. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Joseph.
I'm going to mute Dr. Joseph if you can. I'm assuming he's preparing to cook. This is our routine for the strategic realignment work group. Dr. Joseph is always preparing to cook for strategic realignment work group.
Look, I'm the cook in my house. Look, folk get angry when I got these meetings. I gotta.
It's a trend now, and the work group would expect that you would cook for us when this is all over. So we're expecting. Yep, you see, board member Olivo put her hand up. You're cooking for us.
I got it. Look, I got it. Cook out of my house.
All right. Well, at this point, we're going to transition over to Superintendent Joseph. Work group members, I want you to make sure you pay close attention to what Dr. Joseph is sharing. It's going to be super instructive for our subcommittee time and helping lace up our final recommendations, so so that we can carry this back to the board when we vote over the next couple of weeks. Chair Jackson is on here. I don't know if he has a slated to vote on June 11th or 25th, but we'll know soon based on. Oh, you got us on the 12th?
25th.
25th. Oh, I can't count. So the 25th is when we'll be voting. How did I get 12 out of 5 and 2? All right. It's that Common Core math. But at this time, Superintendent Joseph, we're going to turn it over to you.
Okay, Mike, if you can pull the presentation up. If you can, that will be great. So I want to say thank you. I really appreciate the thoughtfulness of this group. As when you got to make tough decisions on budgets, it's important that that stakeholders understand what we see and collectively help us think, because you have expertise and there's stuff that we might miss. Quite frankly, what I'll tell you is, we're going to get through this budget season. It was painful. I mean, I stop and look at, the fact if you look at our neighboring counties and so forth, you've got a Montgomery County who got additional 143 million, and Anne Arundel who got 76 million. Charles County, got 14 million additional dollars, and we received 20. Um, and that's not a lot when you look at the needs we have, particularly after we've cut 150 million from our budget. So that's a $300 million spread between a Montgomery and us in just 1 year, as they gained 140, almost 150 million. We lost 150 million. You see about a $300 million spread, and we as a community, and I think one of the actions we have to take from this session is we've got to start earlier with this type of format with stakeholders and the administration and county folks. Like, we all got to come together and begin to educate our community on where we are. And ultimately, we have to make a proposition about, are our children worthy of the investment? I know the answer is yes. We've got to get people to collectively rally around that and figure out the best ways to go about doing it. So I just want to take a few moments and just talk about, stewarding the investment, aligning the resources that we have to do right by children. Next slide. And I'll move through real fast so we can get to the meat of the groups that you were doing. Next slide, please, Micah. Okay. So what I want us to do is I just want to name the gap that we're in, talk about, where I think those dollars should look at, or some of the big challenges we must address, and figure out how we sustain over time. Next slide. Right now we asked for $50 million and we got 20. So we've got a $30 million gap between what we asked for and what we got. The county is going to be voting tomorrow, and I don't think we're going to go beyond that 20 million. I think that seems to be locked from what I can gather. So we've got to do our part with the dollars that we have. Next slide. 17 million of the $20 million that we have received really need to go to address operational shortfalls, things like the compensation. Gas prices, electricity is through the roof right now. Our fleet, textbook adoptions, and technology refresh. So really, we've got about 3 million that we have to address our unmet needs. And one significant need that we have is special education. In our budget, we recommended that over half of our requests, 27 million, be given to special education to address the needs that we know that are there. And so we still have, that $27 million need, although we only have $3 million to appropriate. Next slide. And for the 27 million, we wanted those dollars to address contracted speech, OT, PT, and counseling services, private duty nurses for our most medically fragile students, sign language interpretation, compensatory education obligations, our autism programs, and our early childhood teachers. Um, those needs are still dire, and you know whether we have the money or not, we have to address these issues. And so, what happens in a school system budget is because special education needs are not something that's optional. We must fulfill it. So we're going to spend the 27 million that we need to spend, which will put us in a greater deficit as we have to work to ultimately balance the budget and balance the books as we go through this. So know that while we have been waiting, we've been looking within internally at an additional $27 million in cuts. Where could we make them? Which would make our cuts up to about 170, $7 million this year, which is very difficult to manage. But we know that $27 million need is something that we must execute on because our children are required to have the services that they need to be successful. Next slide. In addition to that, we've got about 3,000 of our 10,000 teachers and administrators who are having some or at risk of non-renewal due to their licensure status. This is significant because we're working diligently. Many of them will get their licensure and be fine, but we have to plan for the worst. Many of them will not, which means there could be a larger number of people who will come into the system brand new that we'll have to train. So the need for dollars to address professional development in the system are tremendous because you can't have a championship team without championship players. And to be a championship player, you have to be adequately trained. And so I'm anticipating that we're going to have a lot of brand new first time or new teachers in the district that need to be supported. And so in addition to the special education needs, when I look at the accelerants that we had, special education and professional development are at the top of the list because again, we won't move forward without the best teachers in front of our children. Next slide. So we've created this new Office of Organizational Development, and they have a clear charge to consolidate professional learning to deliver job-embedded coaching for educators that we hire and the ones that we retain. It's needed, again, sort of like special education in my book. It's one of those things that's a must-have. The fact that we didn't have it is something. I mean, there are lots of different approaches to address professional development, but for me, I need one person, a clear focus and accountability, and having it in that office allows us to do that because we can ensure that there's job embedded professional coaching, that there's teacher induction, leadership development, and retention by design. But we've got to find dollars to be able to execute to ensure that our 10,000 teachers and 200, probably 400 to 500 administrators get the supports that they need when you look at principals and assistant principals. Next slide. So the board, when they passed the budget, put $1.9 million aside for academic programming. All right. So within that budget request, they said that they would come back towards the end to figure out where to appropriate those dollars. And what I would submit to us is that we consider in terms of on table, we had the immersion programs that particularly at the middle school and high school, those programs were going to be phased out. At the elementary schools, they were looking at their budgets to see how they could retain them. And then, of course, we had the special education programming, which again had a $27 million gap. and then we've got this need for professional development. There's been a lot of advocacy and feedback about the immersion programs, and the fact that we're a large, extremely diverse district, and we want to give parents the immersion option K-12. And so we've had internal talks, and I've communicated that, I think there could be a possibility to just reinstate those immersion programs now, because I think the dollars could be there to be able to do that. But then we've got to lock in on how we address our special education programming and the professional development need that I just described, knowing that we have 3,000 teachers that are in jeopardy of leaving, in addition to the teachers who just need support. There are thousands of people that we have to have coordinated supports for. So that 1.9 million is a drop in the bucket for our need, as is the additional 3 million. But I would say, we strongly have to consider looking at every dollar to support our special education programs and that professional development. And I think there's an opportunity to correct the immersion programs, addressing the families' desires that we heard, in this process. Next slide. So with the dollars we have, I mean, again, there are three investments that we need to really consider, I think, but definitely open to your feedback and insights. We've got the special education, we've got the immersion programs, we've got the professional development. All three are important, limited dollars, so we have to be strategic while we're continuing to look for dollars to figure out how to strengthen each. Next slide. So again, we've 17 million has to go to just stabilize the budget, which gives us 3 million left, and we've got a $27 million need for special education. I think, as we think about academic programs, if we want to listen and adhere to the family's concerns, reinstating the immersion programs, I understand makes sense. We've got to address the special education program and build the capacity of our educators. And we've got the big piece, knowing next year we're going to have another $100 million challenge. And if we don't have real answers, we're going to be cutting lots of people because we just don't have any more resource to cut. It's going to be people at this point. So thinking about sustainable revenue efficiencies and advocacy to move forward is going to be really important for us. And, that's the work that you've been doing, helping us brainstorm this. I think this is going to be ongoing work. So once this budget ends, we're going to be writing another budget season and thinking about the advocacy and the education component and, working to find sustainable revenue sources is going to be critical for us moving forward into the future. So I can stop there, maybe take any questions. I do have our Chief Academic Officer on, Dr. White, and our Chief of Human Resources, Dr. Edwards, and our Special Education lead, Ms. Trinell Bowman, our Associate Superintendent for Special Ed here, to answer any detailed questions that you may have in any of those areas based upon what I just shared.
Thank you, Interim Superintendent Joseph. I'm going to leave space here for folks to ask questions before we move into this, but I just want to, before we go into subcommittee time, what we're expecting folks to help us to do is, one, irrespective of what we do with the $3 additional million from the county and the $1.9 million that the board took out of those security cameras, because that's exactly where that money came from, those AI enhanced security cameras to protect academic programs. That's what the board did. So that 1.9 has to go somewhere. I want to lay out for you, people who are in the three subcommittees, your work tonight is, while we may not have those special education expenses tomorrow, they will show up throughout the year. And so whatever recommendations you're making to the board around cost savings will be helpful for trimming that 27 million down to layer that what the superintendent is already doing. So I just wanted to make what's in front of us be very clear.
And
The second thing,
Dr. Moss, I also just want to add, that $1.9 million recommendation that the board held that came from the security cameras. Remember, that was our wish list. money. So technically, it wasn't like there was 1.9 that we moved from. We got 3 million. That 1.9 is really coming out of that 3 million.
Yeah.
So I want to clarify, it's not 4.9, it was really 1.9 because these were the extra dollars we were asking for. We didn't get it. But in keeping with the board's mission and action of 1.9 million, so really it's 1.1 million that was remaining with that 1.9 that the board had said they wanted to do something with academic programs on. Let's clarify.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the clarification there. So, that is what we have in front of us. So we have the 27 million that we will have to find cuts for. In terms of back to the superintendent's screen around the $3 million, and the priorities that he laid out around special education or language immersion programs. And what I want to be clear for the public about when we talk about immersion programs, we're talking about in this moment those two boundary immersion programs that were out there. So I want to make sure we're clear around what we're talking about.
But I think there
But
are also that we were talking about phasing out the middle school and high school programs as well. So that would be left alone.
yep. Dr. White, you want to jump in?
No, I was just gonna, the superintendent said it best. It's all four programs, the two elementary, the middle, and the high school.
High school. Any questions for the people? This is where we are. Sharice Vickery.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Sorry, I'm in my car. Dr. Moss knows I'm always running one kid from somewhere to the other. Um, would it be possible if Dr. White could come to our committee subgroup? I just have some questions about like numbers and dollars around things, and just when we start, providing feedback, I I just wanted to know if she could drop in so I can ask my questions about those numbers to see if maybe we can find some dollars there.
I think she's with us tonight.
Okay.
So she can, Dr. White, are
I
you
can,
able to come?
yeah, I can drop in. I'll do the best that I can when I drop in.
All right. Thank you. Dr. Kendrick?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. I was taking notes while Dr. Joseph was writing it down. So here's what I've understood. So even though the county council votes tomorrow, I think you said, we're anticipating not getting beyond the $20 million, which means there's $30 million left over that we have to figure out. Um, a good chunk of that money will go towards what it was said on the slide, budget stabilization, but 3 million of that, sorry, 3 million of the 20 million will go towards special education, but that still leaves 27 million, I think you said, to address not only issues within special education, but in the other two priority areas as well, including job embedded professional development and immersion reinstatement. So is that accurate?
No, I don't think so. I
Okay.
think what we said was um, we do have $3 million that comes. We got 20 million. 17 goes for stabilization, so there was three left. The board took 1.9 million that they said they wanted to focus on academics, which leaves 1.1 for whatever that would go towards special education or the PD. We have to cut internally to make anything else happen if we're going to make something happen on that.
You good, Dr. Kendrick?
Yeah, for now.
Amy Sawyer?
Yeah, hi everybody. So this is really great news to hear, Dr. Joseph. Thank you so much for sharing this. I am feeling a little bit like kind of what next. So I think this group is incredibly important to continue. But looking at those numbers about the decreases in the amount of money from Blueprint that we'll be getting because of lower enrollment in the schools, the lower birth rate, it feels like we're going to need to start up again as soon as this cycle ends.
Yes.
So just wanted to put in an encouraging word for the sooner we could start, the better. More public, reaching out to the public, getting more feedback, and truly, I mean, the budget book is a beast. So I've read it, but I certainly there's a lot more to unpack. So I guess I'm looking forward to the next cycle.
And I appreciate you saying that, Amy. Just so you know, I've talked to Dr. Kendrick, and his subcommittee will make recommendations around what stakeholder engagement needs to look like going forward. for next year's budget process. So that will be baked into the recommendations from their subcommittee to the board around how to start this process earlier, and how to have deeper stakeholder engagement for the work. So your point is well taken. I think Dr. Kendrick and his subcommittee will get to some of that in terms of their recommendations, for the board. Any other questions, or feedback? Should I call you Tamika or Langston's mom? Which one would you prefer to be called?
Oh, Tamika's fine.
I got
So
you.
sorry, I could not figure out can't figure out how to get
No,
that
it's
off.
good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
So my question is about special education. So I think I heard something about one-on-one support for students, and I was wondering if any of those services that we're talking about are reimbursable by like Medicaid, insurance, or anything else.
Great question. Yes. So all of our related services, so physical therapy, speech, OT, as well as counseling are all reimbursable if we have permission to bill Medicaid from a parent. We also can do other services like IEP coordination, which is not a direct service, but if we're coordinating meetings, we also can bill Medicaid. So we have several pathways for being able to bill, as well as our private duty nursing services, psychological services, etc.
Any questions from anyone else before we move into work groups, or feedback? Oh, Vice Chair Olivo.
Thanks so much, Dr. Moss. I just want to, I guess, kind of express my extreme disappointment in what we're hearing is going to come from the County Council tomorrow. We cut almost $150 million from our budget. We asked for an additional 50 that we had very strong and clear information around exactly what we were going to use that for. The two county council budget hearings had a majority of testimony advocating for full funding for PGCPS. And I just want to name how incredibly disappointing it is to know that they're going to vote tomorrow and leave us in a position of needing to make additional cuts. And I just felt like I needed to say that here in this meeting. Thank you.
Heard real loud and clear, Vice Chair. Real loud and clear. Heard. Camila House.
Yes, thank you. I just have a question. I know that Superintendent Joseph, thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to ask about the new office that's opening. I know a lot of people in my circle have some of their concern was, as you know, the issue with costs coming, them feeling like they were promised that costs weren't going to be coming from the school door and that there wouldn't be additional expansion. So have you all, because I'm in the group that essentially is going to be working on communicating with the stakeholder and stakeholder engagement, I would anticipate that is something that will come up. So have you all, I understand you said this was essential, but when communicating with the average PGCPS parent, have you all developed a way to explain this additional office, and is this being absorbed from the funding for the office? Has this been accounted for elsewhere, or is this something that has been, I guess, folded into this new budget? Or I guess my third option is, are you consolidating or reorganizing other offices in order to accommodate this one? Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. This office was consolidation of other offices. But we did add a new. I mean, the associate superintendent position is new. I think we had a we had a vacancy within our budget for a position, so it didn't add more to our budget, but it was a repurpose of everything. And I think we've got 22,000 employees, and we need systemic professional development for them. I mean, any organization our size that doesn't have kind of thoughtful professional development and accountable professional development is going to be in trouble, And so, but we didn't hire a bunch of people staffing offices and things. Everything was just realigned and repurposed, and looking at budgets to make it work. And we could, if anybody wanted to, we can put it up at a specific time in the public and kind of walk through what's in the office and how it was designed and organized and things to help people see it. But again, the messaging that we put out is, again, you can't have a championship team without strong players, and to have strong players, you got to have somebody coordinating, the plays, and we
Super
can explain that.
Interim Superintendent Joseph, I think Camila's push here is one that I think we need to entertain a little bit, in that when we use the term new, it doesn't translate to reallocation. The general public just sees it as something new and shiny rather than this was a reallocation that we did. So if, we could explain a little bit more around and not call it new, I think that might be helpful for some of the people. The second thing, and I see Dr. Edwards' hand up, I hope she will address this. I research teacher working conditions a good bit. And I like to, I had this same tension that the folks that you're talking about, Camila, had. But if you don't pay for work around teacher retention or teacher quality on the front end, you'll pay for it on the back end because of how much it costs to replace a teacher if you don't retain them, or you'll pay for it in terms of poor instruction when a teacher can't deliver a lesson at the highest level. Children won't be reading on grade level, and you'll pay for it in intervention. That's hard to explain to the public, but it's worth explaining to the
Yeah,
public.
but I think
And so,
one thing we should do is have a totally separate conversation, like a work session. I would recommend on the office where we can take the time to go deep on it, because any short conversation isn't going to really answer things. But if that's the only focus, and we go deep and we explain its origins, its purpose, its how it's going to be accountable, I think we could, you know, dispel and address a lot of the issues, and we can do that early.
sounds good. To me, I mean, Camila, did you want to respond to that? You brought this up. I don't want to just leave you on mute over there. This was your concern you raised.
I mean, not extensively. I would just say thank you for the thought about it, but I definitely think that this is one of those things that requires some very specific strategic planning. And I think while it will be perceived a little bit as talking at if we focus just on the use of the office, it needs to also be respond directly to the question of exactly where the resources, both human and financial resources, are coming from, because that is the question we've been talking. If the key is, we've been talking this entire season about about where the finances are coming from, how much less financially we have. We need to speak directly to people's concern with respect to that financial aspect. Otherwise, we're talking, and I'll be candid. Folks are going to continue to walk around discussing this as a corruption issue. So if we want to make sure that that is not um, the discussion that is had, the transparency with respect to the financial portion. I'm not making an assumption myself. I'm just saying
Right.
I call a spade in terms of what I know I'm going to hear, and that is what we are going to hear.
And it's well taken. What we will do is, I think the superintendent is right. Between now and the next work session, I don't think it's difficult for the administration to put together a document explaining how many people went into the office, what line item it came from. I think that's loud and clear. We can have it as an action item from the board, from this work group to get, but I think the superintendent has also offered a longer work session too, which I think are both important. But Micah, can we request that from the administration? Dr. Edwards, your hand was up. You might be saying that's what you want to do, so I'm going to turn it over to you.
I received what you shared as what we will do, and would be happy to talk more about it so that it can have the level of transparency and to show the value that it will bring to the system, not only for our employees, but also for our students and families. So we'll work on the document first, and then we can take a little bit more time to go into greater detail.
Appreciate that push there, Camila. This is the work we're supposed to be doing. Amy Sawyer. I keep forgetting I got to say the last name on Amy because I got Amy Olivo too.
So I was hoping you could just really quickly remind us of the timeline for the capital budget as well, which I believe is coming up because I know I've been getting some questions about like right now with air conditioning. Why don't schools have air conditioning? Why, with all this money, why aren't we buying air conditioning? So if you have any of those dates, that would be helpful.
I don't write off. This is a good quiz for the interim superintendent. And I also know Chief Coleman's not on either.
Yeah, I can get that information as a follow up and send it out. I'm not sure offhand.
Yeah, I don't know the dates right off either. Chief Collins, do you happen to know?
I don't have them, but I believe they're posted publicly. And
Okay,
so Megan could probably grab them while we're in our breakouts and send them out.
we got you. Does that work for you, Amy? We'll grab it while you're in breakouts and follow up on it in the end of the meeting when we do our wrap up. Thank you. Sharice, this will be our last one. I want to get us in the work group in our subcommittees.
I
Vickery?
would, yes, I would just strongly suggest that instead of it being a work group or at least adding in a community session, I think the best thing that you guys did a couple of years ago, especially when it came to change and transportation, was the community meetings. And I promise you, like Miss House is saying, like the word on the street is not what you guys think it is. The community is not understanding it the same way that you think that you're explaining it. And so I strongly, strongly, strongly suggest that you do community meetings about it. And then CIP, you guys have it on your calendar for the your second meeting in August.
Thank you, Sharice. All right. Feedback taken there. We're going to move over into subcommittee time. Remember, the charge for this meeting is to finish making recommendations based on your group. In our next and final meeting, you'll focus on your recommendations to be able to submit. So you'll finish your discussions today as much as possible. I know it's hard. Um, I hear you, Amy. Sawyer, I will go back to the board around what this looks like long term. But we have to have some recommendations for the board to be able to deal with by the 25th. So we'll have one more meeting, and then we'll take all of these recommendations and give them to the board. Let's go to subcommittee time, and then we'll come back at the end. And Chair Jackson is with us tonight, Revenue Committee. I know you all are wanting him here to talk through if your recommendations are valid. So,
Yep.
and he has other ones too.
Thank you.
Jamie, can you put Tranelle and I in the appropriate group? Put us together.
Sure.
Okay, so you should have received an alert. If you could start pressing them.
Yeah, I think
I know
he put me in the wrong group.
Hey, Mike, it's Doug here. I didn't get an alert. Can you resend it so I can see?
okay.
Should be over in Dr. Bauer's group.
Hey, Micah, can you hear me?
I hear you, Chairman. I'm about to send it over again.
Okay, no worries.
Micah, I didn't get an invite either, please. Thank you.
Hey, Amy. Good to see you.
Hey, you too. Hey, Micah, sorry, I should be in the communications, the external engagement um, work group, please. Thank you. I know you've got a lot going on.
Okay, so the last people I've had to move personally, for whatever reason, yours and chairman are not back to the unassigned. It still says that you're in a group. So if you could just bear with me, I'm trying. I can't move you all. It says you're over in a subgroup.
I guess I'm always last on the list to be moved. I'm patiently waiting. Hello, everyone.
And I'm gonna let my dog in the house while I'm waiting.
Ms. Herndon, do you see an alert yet? Okay, great. Thank you. Dr. Jones, have you received an alert yet?
I don't have not. I'm in revenue and sustainability with Dr. Boss.
What flashlight?
Oh, no, here it comes. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so Chairman and Board Member Olivo, you do have co-host privileges. Are you able to select your subgroup yourself or no? It's maybe, I'm assuming that might be the reason.
Ow.
Ms.
Micah,
Sawyer, do you
where
see
should
an
they
alert?
go? I can move them for you. Where should Board Member Lebo go?
Okay,
So I should go to the,
Go.
Board Member
so I should,
Olivo, oh, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry. I should be in the communications and outreach. When I can click join breakout room, but it puts me in fiscal review and resource alignment, which is not my,
So you want to go to stakeholder engagement?
yes, perfect.
Okay.
I got it. Thank you
Got
so
it.
much, Dr.
Yeah.
Collins.
And
Thank
Chair
you.
Jackson, where should he go?
Okay, Chair Jackson, do you see your revenue and sustainability yet? I'm sorry, you're on mute. Okay, I guess that was
Yeah, he
good.
got it.
Dr. Collins, if I can join stakeholder engagement also.
Okay.
Ms. Sawyer, do you see an alert?
I don't. So I'm in the fiscal group.
Do you see an alert now?
Now I do. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Ms. Kidd,
Yeah.
you may not have seen it. I'm gonna redo it again, okay?
Okay, I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay.
I got it. Thank you.
Praise the Lord. Ms. Robinson, you should
Yeah.
be in fiscal review.
Yeah. All right. I got it.
Okay. All right, and then it looks like Mr. Pinckney.
I'm patiently waiting.
You're in stakeholder engagement, correct, sir?
Yes. Got it.
Let me know. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So now, Micah, I don't see my name. Do you see my name on your end though?
I do see your name. Which group would you like to attend?
I've been going to Jamie's group. So that would
Okay,
be the revenue and sustainability.
Okay. All right, and you do have co-hosts, so if you want to bounce around, you should be able to. I'm moving you now. Let me know if you
Okay.
can see it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm the only one come back. What happened, Miss? Oh,
Oh wow. We're back here. I don't know if y'all had a hard night like we had. It was hard over here in our world. Um, you know, so I want to say this. We've got 10 minutes left. If each work group lead can share out, but I'll give you a little, and I haven't told Dr. Kendrick and Jamie this. They know a little bit about our next meeting, and we're going to get clear on our recommendations. But I'm hoping each group will be able to have at least five key ones that we can write about and be able to share. On the 25th, these recommendations will go to the board at that board meeting. I'm hoping to send the report prior to the board meeting so that my colleagues will be able to see it. But I don't know. My work group was hard tonight, but it was good. We were really getting to the details of the work. So I'd ask each committee chair to share the outcome in our last 10 minutes of time. Um, and we'll start with mine. Sharice?
Good evening, everybody. We really got a chance to speak with Dr. White today and kind of dig into some potential changes, maybe, and some recommendations possibly for programming in 27. That we as a group, we kind of pretty much are all aligned. We might not be all the way there on the language of it. And we're a group of people that are coming from all aspects of this. Several of us have children currently in the system in both some of the programs that we are also suggesting to change. So don't want to make it seem like we're not making suggestions that are in our own children wouldn't be impacted, right? Mine as one of them. But I'm not sure that I'm ready to completely share our recommendations because I think we need to have and I know we're not there to give our final recommendations, but we really just kind of dug into what is the data leading us down, and the data is leading us that has to be a fundamental change when it comes to the specialty programs, specifically when we're talking about immersion, we're talking about IB, we're talking about Montessori. There has to be some fundamental change, and so that's kind of where we're going. We're going to get a little bit of data back from Dr. White and Dr. Strader. And Dr. Strader, Dr. White will be reaching out to you regards to that. And then most likely we'll probably be in the end, our one of our final recommendations will also be in the swim lane of busing and some hard changes around what busing looks like for the future.
Thank you so much. As this group said, there will be some bold recommendations coming out of them, and they are indeed bold, but yeah. So hopefully our recommendations have to be too bold because the next group and Chair Jackson will have found us all the revenue where we can sustain everything that we're currently doing. So the revenue subcommittee, would you all give us a report out tonight, Dr. Bowers?
Sure. We had a great conversation with Board Member Jackson about some possible revenue options. We talked about solar rooftop leasing, which I thought was a really interesting and innovative way to think about using our facilities with solar panel. We talked about MOU with service providers like cellular phone service providers, and providing the infrastructure to allow cell towers on our facility properties. We talked about use of our instructional buildings, leveraging specifically CTE sites to attract adult learners, to be spaces for workforce development. We talked about tax credits and rebates, the potential of looking at those to generate additional revenue. We also talked about leasing building and bus space for advertisements. So we had a lot of great ideas. Did I capture those correctly, Board Member Jackson? Okay. Um, so I think by the next time we meet, I think we'll have some good things that we can put together for recommendations as far as what we think are feasible for generating revenue for the district.
Thank you all so much. And we'll have to take those and try to turn those over to policy. I just want to say in front of a great crowd of witnesses that I hope y'all keep the recommendation about those speeding cameras because I keep paying for speeding tickets. in District Heights, and there's a school over there, so it'd be good if those dollars actually went to Prince George's County Public Schools. So I just want to stamp that again. So
We
yeah,
did talk about that, but we didn't get too far into it. But Board Member Jackson did say that that would be something that he could potentially bring us back some more updates on. But
okay,
we definitely did bring that up.
I got you. I got you. Just want to make sure. And then the final group is Dr. Kendrick's group. Dr. Kendrick, you want to give us a readout? You're muted, good sir.
Can't believe I made that error. Uh,
All good.
so our group, we have now a collective understanding moving forward what we're going to do, and that's making recommendations for the next fiscal year of what stakeholder engagement will look like. And so now that we kind of have that, after Dr. Joseph said, essentially, we're probably not going to get the money that we're going to get, it helps us to say, okay, if we're really going to start this work early for next year, we're then going to be able to come up with some recommendations that really highlight to some of the issues, spoken about earlier, to get stakeholders engaged as much as possible so that their input can be utilized to influence the outcomes. But with that said, we were discussing as a group a potential plan to try to at least engage stakeholders and let them know that this is what is going on with the budget. This is what we've been trying to do. But we still have a lot that we're going to have to engage with, and we need your input, especially this next year as we're trying to, you know, address the issue for fiscal year 28. And so, like Jamie said, we do plan to come up with recommendations in the upcoming weeks that will uh, help inform this process.
Yeah, I appreciate you all saying that. I appreciate your work on this. And that kind of aligns, and we've got 4 minutes here, and I'll turn it over to um, my colleagues on the board to see if they want to comment, and then superintendent will get us out of here. But I'm hearing from this group and several subcommittees, and it's becoming abundantly clear that our budget process needs to start earlier for next year. We start in December by board policy, and I mean, Dr. White just told us, the tension bridge is when you make big sweeping changes like this. I think that's what we ran into with families this year. When you make sweeping changes like this in March and you don't know if you can actually do it or not because you don't know how much money the county is going to give you until June, that makes implementation of any change miserable for parents. I mean, first it's miserable for children, and then it's miserable for parents, and then it's miserable for the system. So it's abundantly clear that we've got to do something early on, and I'll take that back to my colleagues. Many of them are here, and I'll make recommendations to that end. But I want to turn it over to my colleagues who are on. We've got Board Member Jackson Saunders, we've got Board Member Olivo, Chair Jackson, and then I won't talk again. Superintendent, you can close us out. So, colleagues, Chair, and then the superintendent close us out. Ms. Jackson, oh, there you go.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair Moss, and of course, Vice Chair Olivo, and to everyone assembled. First of all, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for the work, and it's been meaningful work. And I know that you've had to dedicate a lot of time and a lot of energy, and we're just very grateful. This is indeed what the process should look like. I would love to see us, as we move this process forward, be able to open it up, even if it's just for observational purposes, from a wider range, so that they can see you and us learning and really collaborating on what meaningful decisions look like and how stakeholder engagement really makes a difference. Listen, the money is what it is. We may not be able to solve all of these problems, but this work is the work that is called for us to do. And I'm just grateful for it. So I'm looking forward to much more engagement. Yes, Chair Moss, I'm looking forward to us starting this process earlier and then being able to engage more of our stakeholders in what you all have actually done in this work. I'm just incredibly excited about what's to come. Yes, I know sometimes it might be some bad news coming, as my colleague Levo mentioned, as we will listen to the outcome of our budget process, but it's also part of this process. And so I see great things ahead for us. I truly do. And I have to say, I want to thank Carmen Lewis for taking on this task. As many of us are saying as we sit in the chair in our hearing, and we have advanced your names to participate on this committee, I know that my board colleagues are thankful for your work, to all of our parents and stakeholders in this process. So let's just keep moving forward. Thank you so much.
I'll just be really brief. Again, thanking everyone for being here. I am slightly less depressed than I was at the beginning of this call because I know we have so many really smart, active, engaged people working on this, and just really want to let everyone know how much I appreciate that. So thank you.
So I'm gonna have to keep her from the council tomorrow, y'all. I'm gonna have to drive up and keep her from the council tomorrow. Chair Jackson and then Superintendent, let us go. Superintendent will let us out.
Good deal. Sorry, I'm trying to run from these babies. I'm being attacked by these babies, man. But I'll just say that I'm thankful for tonight discussion, man. I'm so excited about exploring alternative ways to generate revenue. And like I was talking to the subcommittee, is like we have to reimagine education. In the past, we've, relied and been solely dependent on federal and state and, local subsidies. And so now we have to look at this thing through a business lens. So every single part of the educational infrastructure, we have to look to see if there's an opportunity to monetize it. That's from our rooftops to the side of our buses to whatever we do, every piece of the infrastructure, we have to think about, is there a way that we can generate revenue? This is a new time, this is a new administration, and the subsidies aren't as, flowing as they were. Grants are not always, available. And so we have to become independent in some regard in how we generate our money. And so I definitely love the idea of, businessizing, education to a certain extent, but it's still, geared towards developing great human beings. So I'm excited about the different opportunities that we talked about tonight and looking forward to actually executing.
Thank you. And to close again, thank you all for your hard work and taking time out of your busy schedules to be here, on this important task. We've just got to, to move into the future, we've got to continue to focus and continue to prioritize and communicate our priorities. I think, we've got to just have a collective discussion about, where we're going to put limited dollars. And that takes the collective community to come to consensus, come to some understanding. So I agree that the process has to start earlier because we really have to begin educating people so they can understand the mammoth $3 billion budget that we have, what it is, what it is not, and what we're trying to accomplish. And I think once we have the strategic plan laid out and we identify what we want to, really focus on improving in that first year, it'll be a good start for us. So I'm thankful and I look forward to the future collaboration.
Well, there being no further business of the Strategic Realignment Focus Work Group, the time is 8:33. This meeting is now now ended.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.